Fateh. Vaji Khalsa, Vaji Fateh ji. Welcome to another session of Coach Gurbani. This is Ravinder Singh joining you from Columbus, and today we have the Gurjeet Singh, who is going to continue the series on reflections. This is a series that we began a little while ago, where each one of us is offered to share our personal experiences with Sikhi and our development as a Sikh. Hanji Veji, it's all yours.
ਹਾਂਜੀ ਵੀਰ ਜੀ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕਾ ਖਾਲਸਾ
Vaji Ki
ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕੀ ਫਤਿਹ ਜੀ So I'm really honored to share whatever happened through the hukam to me, because as such human beings or beings, we are all under hukam. Whatever is happening is totally happening. I could only now basically watch and see what all happened in last 52 years. So, as Kabir ji says, Kabir na hum kiya na karenge, na kar sake sharir. Everything is happening in the hukam. So, what all happened with me, I could just start. This is a profile picture from I have made a home page in 2003 because to celebrate the 400 years of the Prakash. So, it does tell that I was born in India in district Ropar in a village. Then my primary education started in Delhi. My father was in army, so we were firstly allotted a quarter in Sevanagar, where then from there we moved on. Then he has to be transferred out of Delhi because he has lived in peace, and then there is a, you can say, border posting for him in Baramulla. So he was worried what to do because I never knew Punjabi. My Hindi was my only medium and English. So ultimately, he asked someone, they said there is military schools, the 5 in the whole of India, and you could send your son there. So that I'll elaborate now. So basically, this is my native village, Kishanpura. It's everyone there is by the surname of Bains. And we had a teacher there known as Master Hajura Singh. He was kept able to educate especially the Jat families in the village. He says, no one will go for taking people will take the animals for grazing and all that at that age. He says everyone should be at the Kurali Khalsa school, which is on the main road still there. And my dad did the metric from there. He did his year 10. And he told me that it was compulsory to memorize Japji and Rehras. That was a part of your year 10 assignment as a qualification. So it means he already had it. Then most of the people were educated. And he tells me, he's no more, that it was not easy for a normal party to come and do the part in our village. Someone was taking a hukamnama. He was stopped 3 times by the people. He says, you're not reading it right. It means the village was fairly educated. At that time, there were a lot of beggars and all tunantaman happening. He was telling me no one was allowed. So people knew what Gurbani is at that time, whatever they knew. So he served for 28 years in the EMA, which is one of the top out of all the corps is one. With signals and EME are referred as one of the top. My mom is illiterate and she's now with us here. And I asked her recently, who named me? She said it's a person known as Sant Pyara Singh, which is very famous in Chamkaur Sahib area because I was born at Chamkaur Sahib near the village. So that's in June. So they took me in the summer month. Someone's Akhand Path was there. So that Hukamnama came and I don't know what Shabad was there. So he said, this is the letter, and he suggested the name. So this is what I could find from Google, that there is the main Gurdwara, but this name was done there are 5 Gurdwaras in Chamkaur Sahib. So the main one is Katalgarh Sahib, but Damdama Sahib is where my name was ultimately, they took me for the naming ceremony. And that's, I think, the last time I will ever come into contact with any sants, because my dad's background and then further my education. I never came in so-called people like sons in India. So if you see, this is the 1705. There's always a big Jod Mela there every year. We used to go there. And Ajit Singh and Jujhar Singh, including the three Pyaras, gave their lives there. And Allah Yar Khan has said this, that Ek hi Tirth hai Hind mein yatra ke liye. In the whole India, there is only one pilgrimage. That is Chamkaur Sahib. So he was a Muslim who wrote this. And Sant Pyara Singh constructed this Katalgarh Sahib after the original building was too small, which was constructed in 1831. So this is about, then from there, my dad was in the army. He shifted to, we were in Baroda. Then from Baroda, we went to Allahabad. And then we transferred to Delhi. So it's in 1970 that I was put to a school in Sevanagar, which I still remember going there. And it's now known as South Delhi Public School, was established in 1966. So still my medium was Hindi and English. So I never studied Punjabi. Then because my father was promoted, and then we were given another house at Moti Bagh. It's clearly says that Moti Bagh on the last line is a place where all the government of India and other army officers live. So I was put into this school there, which I still went, and I was surprised that when I went 6-7 years ago, there was the same principal there, which I left in 1974. So this is now a bigger school. So now it is secondary at my time. So as I told, my father was getting a transfer out of Delhi. So someone, under the hukum suggested him to take your son for this military school exam. There are 30 seats for the people who are in the army. And every year, how many? 5 schools, 150 kids are chosen. And I still remember we went to Nanakpura Gurdwara in the morning. The exam was a 2-day exam. First day was a psychology exam. So when I go there, I was able to feel that those kids were too smart. And I told my dad that I might be wasting my time here, that these kids seems to be really smart. So they had a psychology exam in which you have to do 100 questions, matching the figures and all that. So only if those people who clear that were sent to the next day. So I was surprised that I was in those who cleared it. Then ultimately I was 67th in the whole of India merit, which was published. And then I went to, because I was on the north side of India. This is Chail Military School is actually in Shimla Hills. Maharaja Patiala's estate was given to the school. And that building I'm showing was the main building known as Ranveer Villa. That was where he used to stay for some time. And the school's name was actually King George Royal Indian Military College. So KGRIMC, originally, now located in Himachal, was established after the First World War in 1922 with a donation of, about 250, thousand rupees from King George V. So schools started working since 25, and all the cadets, like I'm known as a Georgian. So we have a Georgians Association, which is very massive because people from last 50 years are a part of that. So we have yearly get-togethers in Delhi, in Chandigarh, and all that. So if I'm there, so that's my old first logo here, the one with the green. I still remember this is Sheelam Parambhushanam was the aim, that that was the motto. Before was played a game. After 1947, when the British left, it was left to Sheelam Parambhushanam, that calmness is the biggest ornament you can wear, Shilta. And this is at the bottom is now the new. Then I still remember for all those 9 years I was there, from year 4 to year 12, we used to say grace on the start of every meal. Gentlemen, the grace, God, we thank thee for what we are going to receive. Although we never understood at that time. And at the end, for gentlemen, the grace, God, we thank thee for what we have received. So 3 meals in the dining hall and 6 times the grace. So it means I was associated. There was a Gurdwara there. Once a year on Guru Nanak's Gurpurb, the whole school will go there. All our lunch ration will come there, and there will be langar along with the people who there was a lot of Sikhs because of Maharaja Patiala in Chail itself. So that was basically my only, or if I go to Bazaar on Sunday, I will go and Matha take at the Gurdwara. That's my only connection with Sikhism. Then in 1976, there was a Gurdwara established in my Nanke village. And for the first time, I know when they started to do celebrate Sangrant, they had the bead, and it took them about 10 minutes to find where Anand Sahib is. They just have to go through all the pages to index, then they ultimately discovered. So that was that time my knowledge about Gurbani. Then they bought a audio system in which there was the Asa Ki War by Ragi Surjan Singh, Rehras and Japji, and also Sohela. So I used to hear, but when I heard the Japji for the first time in 1976, it has, I still remember the word Haram Khor, because in 1975 we had a movie known as Sholay, which was so famous. It was using that language, that Gabbar Singh. And I said, oh, how come this word is here? Other than that, I remembered Sohela, because only 5 Shabads. I never memorized any Banis. I could read it only from Hindi Gutkas, and Hindi Gutkas were not readily available. So ultimately, then from there, I left military school, went to Ludhiana. That time my father was retired. I started living in the village, went to the Guru Nanak GG and Guru Nanak Khalsa College, and did my BSc, what they call TDC, 3-year degree course. Then I went to Punjab University, did my master's. Then I got to the Shmesh Academy, got married, and then my in-laws' family, they were very much Akhand Kirtan Jatha. So that's from there I started learning about Gurbani and other things. Before that, I never did a full part of Japji. It's there that with my father-in-law, who was very learned, he was a president at Sector 35, Gurdwara as well. So he will take me, and we also went to Pakistan on the tour, which normally the Indians go. So I've been to Nankana Sahib, I've been to Panja Sahib, and all these places because he was able to help us to go there. And other than that, slowly, then we came here. 1992, I arrived in Australia in December. And then in 1993, I joined QUT, which is the Queensland University of Technology, to do a master's degree again, although I was master's there. So just to get into the system, I did by thesis, so cocoa flavor, the interaction of pyrazines with carboxylic acid was my topic. Submitted the thesis in 1995. Then, because it will take some time, so I left for around the world. We all went from here to New Zealand, then to America, England, and India, and back here. Then in 1996, I joined this company, Metal Sign and Label. That was about 40 km from here. And in the meantime, we used to go to Gurdwara. There was no Granthi there at our Logan Gurdwara. Then 1996, the Granthi came. He was a missionary Granthi. So he used to tell, and sometime whatever he said used to interest me. But slowly, I started listening to the kathas because it was 40 minutes journey both sides to the work and back. So I got really interested in listening the kathas. And if I could show you, I have listened to all these. There should be about 25 of them. Bhupender Singh and Gurbachan Singh ji, Maskeen ji, Pinderpal Singh, whatever I could get possibly hands to. And then in the end, there was CDs. Then the CDs came. Firstly, they were cassettes. Then the CDs came. And then Thakur Singh's, there's Patiale Wala. And then also in the end, they also did a full katha, but I didn't reach that stage. Then I also listened to the kathas of Harbhajan Singh Yogi. But because I was able to retain, my retention power is still pretty good. I was able to retain and connect, and I say basically they are not saying much different. They're quite similar, but I didn't stop. And then the change came. My son, Sahibjit Singh, he was born in 1998. And there is a person in California, Talochan Singh Nahal. He's involved with a Akhand Kirtani Jatha. He also sells books. So he asked me what you want. I say, get me a history, Sikh history by Hari Ram Gupta, because I want to see what others say about us. So 5 volumes, I read it because I used to drive cabs on weekends. Then the night when that attacks took place, the September 11 in America, that day I was interacting with this Gyani Sahib Singh. He was here in Brisbane. We were running the Japji classes. For the first time, someone ever in my life explained me Japji with a board and a chalk. So he had a little, very old sort of board, and just he will rub it with a rag, whatever chalks he could get. He explained to me. I missed some classes. Then I asked some others that, what he said yesterday. They were not. They were clueless. So then in 2002, I did another world tour. I went through the same, but this time through Europe. And on my way to Punjab, I met Gyani Sahib Singh on the way. He's at Markanda in Ambala. So he presented me the book, which I show you later. Bhagat is a Tanna Singh Commissioner. That was one of the best books I have ever read on Gurbani grammar, because if I would have studied Sahib Singh's book, that would have totally put me off grammar, because I wanted to somehow make connection with Gurbani, being, I've done masters in science. I wanted something which will be logical for me. So I think that book, I will recommend if you know Punjabi. It's still printed by Puran Singh's, the at Amritsar Pingalwada. They give it for free. But I bought for 1,000 rupees per book from them, and I distributed quite a lot to people who were interested. Then, because from there, I really started getting interested into Gurbani grammar. And as through the hukum, I was able to understand. So this is the statement which I have put on my home page. The rules of grammar apply to all written and spoken communications. There are the rules that ensure that a statement means the same thing to the person who is transmitting information and the person who is receiving information. So the first thing was done by Dr. Trump in 1820, around 1870 he wrote it. Then he has written Adi Granth. At that time, I still has his book. It still says Adi Granth. I don't know from how Adi Granth, then I slowly found it. So he formed a dictionary, which I didn't get, but I want to still. I'm in process of finding his dictionary, because that was the original one. Then I slowly started searching that actually the thing was Guru Khalsa Jannyo, Paragat Guran Ki De, which is even accepted by missionaries who are really against a lot of other stuff. They say the original Dohra was Guru Khalsa Jannyo, but Bhai Veer Singh has written this in text. There's no otherwise a text available, that Guru Granth Ji Manyo. So this was a bit of a change. I even wrote that this is not as per Gurbani. We'll discuss it later too. Then all these books, I read Professor Sahib Singh, which was written around 1930. Bhai Rantir Singh's whole book, 1954 he wrote. Gyani Harbans Singh, Dr. Harkir Singh. They were all Gurbani grammar books. Sikh Missionary College, I'll show you the photos of them. Then in the last, I was able to find Shackle's book, Professor C. Shackle. And I think Chetandeep asked me if he could get any book from India. I recommended him only this, but he's out of print now. All the good books have gone out of print. So if someone can get hands to, please read it. It is only book with exercises at the back. Our books don't contain exercise because it's written by a Westerner. So he will check your. Then also by Joginder Singh Talwara, who wrote in 2004. So then I have put this, that if someone wants to help me with this, my understanding, I will always be highly appreciative of that. Then whatever knowledge I had, I started designing a home page, and I don't think so anyone else has done it for the people who know Punjabi and English both. So this is slowly I got that the Adhgram does not narrate the story of the founder Guru Nanak, nor does it sings the glory of others, but dedicated to Parmeshwar. So this one, these are all the books. This was my first book. This is 2 rupees book, but it changed my life. What is the value of 2 rupees? This is the second one I read. Then this is Professor Sahib Singh, which is the hardest book to ever read and follow because he thinks everyone is PhD and people are not. So then this was the best one, Gurbani Diyan Lagamatran Di Vilakhanta. And there's another book by Ranveer Singh, because this, I went to India in 2002, asked for the book. They say it's out of print. And I said, how much will it cost to print? They say, will minimum print 2,000 copies, means photocopy from the old, but if you can help us to print the other 2. So I came here, we just gathered some funds, whatever was left, I put it from my side. We got this 2,000 copies of this Gurmat Adhyatma Karam philosophy and Gurbani Diyan Lagamatra, and I sent it to all the 5 continents. I said, I will need 200 books for myself. And there was a person, I gave him 50,000 rupees in India. I used to give him addresses. So I did my best to put these to England, to America, to New Zealand, and to here. But I was surprised that when I went to New Zealand, one of the Sikh, who's I think was Amritar, he gave this book back to me. He says, I understand. I say, this book was not printed for about 87 to 2003. How you are surviving? What's the use of playing things on tablas? And, you know, I am sometimes really blunt. I say, you have broken 2,000 tablas, but you haven't read 200 pages of the book. This is another book which I have to go to SGPC to ask them to reprint this. This is for free. Shabdik Lagamatran de Gujje Paid. Very small book, but very informative. This other one, Gurbani, the Ucharan, the green one, I would have, I think, distributed 100 copies minimum. There's another one with it, the one I showed you before. Whosoever come, I used to bring in piles in the sea mail, and I used to just distribute. This is the book I'm talking about here, Gurbani da Shuddhu Charan Tanna Singh. Tanna Singh's wife got sick. So he wanted to read the Sahaj Path to her. He asked for a Granthi who could read line by line to him. But he couldn't find anyone. He couldn't find anyone who was that knowledgeable. He read it himself and wrote his experiences. Wonderful book. This Gurbani Vyakran by Harbans Singh, because when I go to 2002 to India, before that in 1992, I have already shipped 10 volumes to my brother-in-law in America. He also do some study. He's the first one who made in 1993 Akal Media Systems. That was his first interactive program ever with the help of Kulbir Singh Thind. In 1995, I had that CD which was made by Kulbir Singh Thind. Before that, in 1995, someone else made one, gave a presentation, but it had hundreds of errors because he wrote it himself. He had a wonderful effort done too. but then Thind was, I think, smarter. He's still there with his Akal fonts. I think he called them, I think, Satluj or something. So he's still involved with other people who are making more softwares. Then, I mean, reading. This is one of the best book I ever come across. Because this book involves the word Swabhang in it. For the first time I ever read that there's a word known as Swabhang. Also on this page 349 for Bhai Rantir Singh's book, there's also the word Swabhang, which is only I found so far 2 people. Yeah, Principal Harbhajan Singh is actually the one who has gone through maximum beads. There was another guy, GB Singh. He didn't even went to Kartarpur to look at the bead, and he still wrote a book about it. And Sahib Singh has mentioned that. So these are the 2 new ones, which came the latest. Jogendra Singh Talwada is now no more. He has done a good effort. And the other one, the best book, which for the Westerners, I will suggest this one, a Guru Nanak glossary. Now, you see, he has put line on U and a line on A, which shows that this is a double matra, because he knows our language so well. So the first is a single sound, second is a double sound. Same way Nanak, double sound with the first one because it's a kanna. And where is the Lankard? He just put extra stress. So this is what we need. This is that final book, which I'll recommend everyone from wherever you get. If someone comes in contact with me, I only recommend him. I say, just read this. Don't need to read anything else. You will be on the right track. So this is the main of my home page. Whatever I made took help, dedicated to the 400 years of the first Prakashavad Granth. So try to describe what the Oankar is. Then it has got so many sections. This is Mool Mantra section, this page. The next one is this, what I say, Gurbani grammar, understanding Gurbani language. Gurbani diyan lagamatra. And if you see on the left side at the bottom here, all these things I did Adak, Ankar, Bihari, Bindi, Dulama, Lama. Everything has been done for people who only know, whose English is their first language. Whatever English skills I have, I've tried to tell. So next one is like I'm showing you, this is how in that if you go, this is what Adak. I try to describe why Adak is important with whatever knowledge I had. So then I have also gone to Gurbani, the Shuddha Ucharan. Like there are words, Anni or Anni, the difference because I've tried to even found the page number for where they are. You can go and look at this at my home page. Then one of Anni is an adjective, one of Anni is a noun. The pronunciation, whatever I know, blind. Anni means blind. Anni means food grain. Same way, Akhe is a verb. Akhe non-plural is for eyes. So whatever I could find from the books, I spent time, whatever possibly time I had. Then we had 2008 Gurdwara elections here in Brisbane, because there was in all our Gurdwaras, there is always a bit of a hassle. So there were 2 groups. They used to celebrate every fortnight. Ultimately, there were elections, and we were able to, this group I was in was able to win. And that was at that time my profile. I have done by that time a lot of camps and other things. This is a surprising thing I want to show. In 2008, just on my own with the help of others I called, I ran this seminar. Gurbani is Jagme Chanan, Karam Vasayan Manaye. So this was to the dedication to the 300 year of the Gaddi Divas to Guru Granth Sahib. Was done on 25th of October 2008. If you see, I tell people to do these things. Your own gutka. They need to bring their own gutka from home. If they don't, I will provide them one. Because they were enough at Gurdwara Sahib. 1 notebook. They have to bring 1 notebook to write the notes, and 3 different colored pencils. because there are three different sort of words which we need to speak. There are words in which we have to put a bindi. So I tell them to mark with green. There's a word on which we have to put adak. We just asked to underline it with red, and a few other things. So this was done, and about 20 people came. This is the session 1, 2, 3, 4. And I told them one thing, that please bring your own lunch. I won't be providing you with, I won't take the responsibility of providing you the langar there. You bring your own lunch, and I will be able to help you with the 4 sessions. So it was still quite successful from whatever population we had. Then in 2009, because I was still the secretary at the Gurdwara, there were about 50 words like that. The Multi-Faith Center asked me to explain as per Gurbani. And the first is like love, compassion, kindness, and all the words. So I have to spend about, I think, 5-6 days to find whatever knowledge I had, that what is love from Gurbani, surrendering our minds to our Guru, we will find universal love. So, but mostly everything is ending up, quite similar. It's just within the Brahm that everything is happening. Then a lot of time I organized the Gurmat camps here in our Brisbane. We only had one Gurdwara at that time. So this one was done in 2009, 16th to 17th of January. So this is a picture where, so many kids, my daughter used to join. Devinder was always helpful in that, because she actually knew more Gurbani when we got married. So she was the one who put me through, into that sort of area. She still, I think, remembers Sukhmani Sahib and all the Banis by heart, which I didn't so far. So then what happened is I went to a Granthi to install. There is a Shabad Guru Explorer. It's a access sort of program. I got that in about 2004. I would have installed in over 100 computers in Brisbane. Wherever I go, I'll ask them, you have a computer? I will take the CD and just copy paste, and that's used to work. And I have been doing this from about 6 years at our Gurdwara on a projector displaying Gurbani. Then what happens is, someone tells me about Such Khoj Academy. So my first email to Such Khoj Academy was on 1st of September 2010. Then I wrote them an email that the file 46 in Siddh Ghosh directory does not load, and I got the reply within 5 minutes. I have been interacting with Sikh sites for ages. They never give you a reply. I was able to get, so I got really serious. I say, hey, they might be doing something good. And then this is an email in which Charanveerji's name is there. I don't know how long I have been in contact with Charanveerji. There are other, I don't know whether this Dilpreet Singh is someone else. This is Dilpreet Singh Virdi, whether it's R. So these are some of the my list through which I put a message from India when I met with Dharam Singh for the first time. I say it was a pleasure to meet Bhai Dharam Singh ji in person along with the family to discuss Gurmat for over 3 hours on Saturday, 20th November 2010. We went to India for my niece's wedding, who lives in California, and that's during that time. So I had picked up this nice quote from somewhere. Bible shows the way to go to heaven, not the way heavens go. That was Galileo, what he said. So this is when I met Dharam Singh for the first time. This is my elder son, and this is the younger one. And then there was another katha done in California somewhere, 600 hours of katha. Even I got those and I distributed here to a lot of people with, whatever cost they ask for. Minimum was just a postage. So this is how the whole process has been going through. And then because I had now Ishar Micromedia at my hand, and then Ishar Micromedia was another thing, and then internet, all these things changed the whole outlook. And then I joined, interacted with Dharam Singh and asked him, what is all about. I would have spent minimum of 100 hours with him, just discussing, because I was out of job. I left metal sign and label in 2009. And I only used to do supply teaching, and you don't get it for every day. So 6 hours, 8 hours a day sometimes, because I wanted to really test. I was thinking I'm fairly smart, but when I discussed things with him, I discovered that that smartness was of no use. He will be sitting in a bus and is on a phone with me, and I think he was able to beat me on a computer with, he will say this word will be written like that. So I thought, what a wonderful man. So then slowly I started asking him why he's the, what's the whole aim of Gurbani for him. Then he tells me these things. He says he has done 50-year research, and those things are now very clearly written on the internet, that where is the problem in our whole system. I have studied this system. I was a part of this system, but now ultimately I'm also the criticizer of this system because it's not letting us go anywhere. Like see Gyani Hazara Singh, he's the Nana of Bhai Veer Singh. This information I got from the internet. He's the one who brings the Bhai Gurdas Diyan Waran. There is no history of Bhai Gurdas Diyan Waran before this. He died in 1908. Then Bhai Veer Singh provided, added few more things to his, whatever he has done, the Guru Granth Sahib Kosh, Guru Granth Kosh. Then I have got the copies now loaded from that, someone sent me that site from, I think it was Chetan Deep, the Punjab book club, Sikh book club or something. So I have it now. So I have originally seen this Shri Guru Granth Kosh, which was done further by Bhai Veer Singh. Then this is all written that these are the 5 people who has to follow, who followed the Nirmala philosophy for us. Although it said, it was criticized later that why, what for Sikhs need to learn Sanskrit? There was no need. It was a false story anyway. So Ganda Singh, Karam Singh, Sena Singh, Veer Singh, and Ram Singh, these were some of the Nirmalas. Because they went to that philosophical school, they will always say the male of Atma and Paramatma, which Gurbani totally rejects. And it's also said that Nirmala teaching incorporated Sikh teachings and doctrines with a large Hindu oblique Vedantic framework. So we are not Vedantic, we are Vedas. These are some I found that, selection of 300 years of Nirmala Sikh scholarships. They have such a strong network that everyone is basically in their sort of grip. And look at Pandit Tarasi Narottam. He has written so much of that stuff and has been further copied from there. Say Sant Gyani Gyan Singh, Pandit Nanu Singh. We have all read their Kavi Santokh Singh. They are all running from one school of thought. That is what Atma and Paramatma. That's where that word is coming to us. And if I could read this criticism is done on the same page. It says, besides, it's a myth that Guru Gobind Singh Ji sent some Sikhs in disguise to Kashi to learn Sanskrit from the Brahmins. Nirmala holy men claim that Sikhs who sent in disguise by Guru Gobind Singh to Kashi to learn Sanskrit from Brahmins found in their organization. It is more likely that Brahmins who have no moral revolution about ascribing immoral acts to their own gods and goddesses made up this story for us. So,
Veerji, Gurjit Singh Ji, we are coming to 9:45.
Yeah, 11:39. So yeah, I'm getting close.
So we had allowed 30 minutes to people because we will not have a chance to have a discussion.
Okay, can I take another 5?
So if you can wrap up in the next
5 minutes? Okay.
Yeah, take a couple of minutes to wrap up because we are going past our...
Okay. All right. Thank you, sir. Thank you, Paji. This is where when I bought this book for Shri Guru Granth Sahib Darshan Nirnay, from there I started reading and I was baffled that Professor Sahib Singh is also copying from here and there. This is one of the Shabads. Nanak Nadri Bahare Rachan Dana Nai. Shuddhucharan is how this person has written that there are 4 people done the earth. Hey Nanak Prabdi Mehdi Nazar Nal, ude naam vich nahi judde. So I found there that there is a copy and paste going on. Now I'll just take you to this one. This is one thing which I've learned in my life, which I propagate, that don't read to Gurbani, read from Gurbani. This is the aim. This is our main problem when we read through Nirmalas. We spell the word Gur with Mukta as Gur, but with the Ankar as Guru, with the Prab as Prab, but when there's an Ankar, there's a word Prabhu. We read it, whereas it is grammatically Prab, not Prabhu. Then I will show you the differences were there between Gur and Guru, Jap and Jap, Simra and Jap, Japna and Tyauna, Jeeb and Rasna, Akha and Netar. And I'll just show you the last thing, which I think, why we don't use the word Paramatma. In Gurbani, it is very clearly said, Atam is your mool, which is pure. Atma is your born out of Atam, it is impure. If we call word Paramatam, Paramatam will mean super pure. But if you call word Paramatma, it will mean super impure. So that's why Gurbani or Dasam Granth will never use this word. Is no chance of this word coming in any Vedic text. So this is where even when I went for the wedding, there's a special chapter I included on, I printed this booklet, Human Soul Pratma. There was the publisher was very intelligent. He read this and he said, why you write this? And I explained it to him. He says, all right, I'll print 200 more and distribute on my own cost to the Chandigarh Gurdwaras. That was, and this word has been really a new invention, that if you understand this word, I think you understand to me whole of Gurbani. So I will stop here, and I will see basically that these days, this person, I rang Davinder Singh. He has not studied any Tika, and he says that the Gurdwara which third Guru has said, third Padsha, is the different Gurdwara to what our Gurdwaras are. So we have to find a way. So I see that there is a change coming in the society. So I'll finish here. Ji Vaheguru Ji ka Khalsa. Vaheguru Ji ki
Fateh. Ji Vaheguru Ji Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Fateh. Thank you, Veji, for the talk. We are pretty tight on time. Anji, to start off.
Sure, thank you. Vaheguru Ji ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji ki Fateh. Virji, I really want to thank you for your presentation. I always am so enlightened by your comments, and I can see now just the depth of your study over the years, and why what you say makes so much sense on multiple levels. So that was really helpful for me to understand. I guess the question I have is, what do you think is kind of missing as far as books that are popular? Particularly maybe in the West. I have one of the Shackles books. What do you envision as like a missing link or a missing piece that would be really helpful for people?
Yeah, until we start to explore Gurbani, I think if you read the Pauri 33, we have to keep it in 3. We can't keep it in 2. We have to say that, in our philosophy, we have a Brahm, then we have a Puran Brahm, and then we have a Par Brahm. I think Semitic religions don't have that sort of philosophy, but in Eastern religions, it is very prevalent. We have to push that thought process through. That if you want to become one, you have to become one with yourself, because you are God yourself. Until the Brahm and Brahma, they together, we have to maybe write some books or some little articles to propagate that idea that through Gurmat, this is what 35 people have said. And this is a constant sort of theory, and it has been told that it was there before. If you read Dasam Granth, the history goes to 5,000 years. When Dattatreya started, if you read all those avatars, 24 avatars by Dasam Pasha, so that idea was always there, but because I think maybe we are all about to start with this, whatever we have done was good enough, but let's not try to propagate that we have to study, we have to find a sun than a father and a grandfather. That's what I will say. We have to study Gurbani from 3 angles, which has been told to us. Pyu Dade Jehvya, Potra Parwan. The grandson has to become just like father, because the father is always like grandfather. So I will always say, keep it to these 3 levels: father, son, and grandfather.
Okay, thank you, Ji.
Thank you, Ji. Chetandeep?
Hanji Veerji, Gurjeet Veerji, thank you so much for sharing your life with us. The question I have for you is, you come at Gurbani from a grammarian perspective, or from a grammar or a language perspective, and I do not have any formal knowledge or learning of Gurbani grammar. So I always have been a native speaker of Punjabi and learned or received Gurbani tradition orally. So my question is it necessary and a prerequisite for us to understand and probably live Gurbani, to go through or to understand Gurbani grammar, Vyakaran and language?
Basically, we need to understand 3 things. If you understand 3 things, that's more than enough. Like, if you should know what is past, present, future tense, if you know what is singular and plural, this is the basic rule of any language. Like I haven't mentioned, I'll show you one example. If you don't go through that, that's the problem with us, because then we can't. Like, this is the word rove. Rove is a word used in Gurbani as a present continuous word. Hukam na jane bahta rove. I'm still crying because I don't understand the hukam. Still crying, but when it comes to like rove ram nikala paya, Professor Sahib Singh made it past tense. Whereas this is for us. Everyone sitting here is now in this stage. Our Ram, our Mool is crying because he has been shunted out of the Sachkhand. So these things happen, means because this is in the present continuous tense, you can't do this in the past tense. So I only say you should know about male, female, all right? You should know past, present, future, and singular, plural. You don't need to know anything else. Leave everything else. This is more than enough for you to make connection with Gurbani. Like, there's a Pankti in Japji Sahib, Vaqt na payo Kadiyan. And they say that the Kadiyan people sitting there in Gurdaspur, they say that Guru Nanak said it about us, that you don't go and trouble these people. But whereas the word says in the past tense, they are telling us for future tense, whereas Guru Nanak is telling that in the past, these Qazis never were able to. And there means I can give you hundreds of examples where we need to know only 3 things. So I repeat it again: male, female. You should know which word is female. Like pani in our word is main pani pita, main barf khadi. So ice is feminine, whereas pani is male. We say, hey, meri bus hai, means the bus is female. Mera truck hai, means it's a male. So these things we need to understand, and I think it's not that hard. So I can help you if you want.
Thank you, Veerji. That's helpful input.
Hanji, thank you. Hanji, Gurdeep Singh Ji.
Hanji, Sat Sri Akal Ji.
Sat Sri Akal Ji.
Hanji, mere question I have one question. If he can answer me that, did he ever realize that God or Guru is always with him, and certain things happen in his life beyond his own capacity, and where he became surprised that this is what he never thought of that, but he was thinking to do this thing, and it happened without his putting too many efforts. So did he have these kind of experiences? Like Gurbani says, Mata kare purv ke ta'i pacham hi la jaat. Jab mata kare pacham ke ta'i purv hi la jaat. This is one question. Other question, he says Atma Paramatma. Gurbani says Atma Pratma Eko Kare. So what is the difference between Pratma, Atma, Pratma Eko Kare? Is it Pratma is for Paramatma? And if anything happens, like what Gurbani says, you know, achint kam kare pratin ke, about you think, and something happens in his life, which was wonderful, which was very useful for his career or for his family and all that. If you can quote me some example, what happened to him during all his journey of life. I think you got my question.
Anji, Uncle ji, I think I don't believe I can do anything. Everything is done through hukam. If I'm speaking to you, you're speaking to me, it's all through hukam.
Can you quote an example in your life?
I'm sitting here. It could have been that this program could not be there. Harvinder asked me to do this before, and I said no. And I got sick for 3 days, and I got so much of time to do this all stuff. Everything is happening is a surprise to me. Why it is happening, why it happened. I can only look and see the past, but everything to me came as a surprise. So far, I'm basically perplexed that how come I am at this stage. I studied science. I went to military school. I never went into army. I studied science only. Then I started working in industry. And then from there, how do I get into this stage? Because that was already written. I went to that my work. He told me how to use graphics. And with that simple graphic, you see, I make a lot of things. Like all these things in my past, you can see presentations. I have been able to make, maybe because the Hukam wanted me to go there only to learn the graphics, so that I could use it for Gurbani. Means this is only I could say after the thing has happened. So I think every time in my life, everything has happened surprise. And I'm, means what to say, complain, I never expected this. It's way on top. I mean, if I expected 1%, it has almost, you can say, gone 10,000 times more. So I'm always thankful, surprised. Whatever has happened was very organized, and still it's, you know, I think there is something more to happen. I have no regrets. Whatever has happened is good for me, too good for me. And then you said about the word Pratma. Yes, we have 4 words. We have word Atma, which I'm putting here, and Atam. So from Atam and Atma, they are together becoming one. When Atma goes into Atam, they become Puran Brahm. There's another way of writing the same thing. This is Jinni Atam Janaya, Paramatam Soi. The Atma who has known, who has basically explored the Atam is known as Paramatma. Then there is a word which you quoted, Paratma. Atma and Paratma. When you use the word Par, means it's out of Maya. When we use the word Par, it comes to be, Kabir ji says, 15 thiti satwar, kahe Kabir urvar na par. So Pratma is the same Atma which is outside Maya, which is my mool. So whether you say Atma, Pratma, ekko kare, because they are 2 different words. Atma is still impure. Paratma is pure. Whether you say Atam, it's also pure. Paramatam is also pure. So we only have 4 words. Atma, Atam, Paratma, and Paramatam. But there is no word like Paramatma, because Paramatma will make this word go negative. It becomes super negative. So that's why if you read Jap Sahib, there is Paramatam hai, Sarbatam hai. It says that. Purgative Khalsa Paramatam ki Mauj. So Paramatma word is only coming from where? If you have a time, I will send you this. This is a sense of Upanishads, greater than all the servants. The word Paramatma, people who have also used the word Akshar Brahm, to which Bhai Veer Singh used Upper Brahm. If you want, I can send you everything. This is the only book. I have to travel specially to Delhi just to get this book to distribute further. I'll send you this if you can read, Uncle Ji. This is also says that the Akshar Brahm comes in Gita as well. That will also test how much Gita you were saying once you read it, it will test, it will show you how much is there. There has to be a word Akshar Brahm coming if you are using the word Paramatma, not Puran Brahm. Puran Brahm is from Ved, Paramatma, Atma, Akshar Brahm is from Upanishads. So this is my understanding.
Thank you. Thank you, Ji. That's good.
Hanji, Meena Benji.
She's not here.
Oh, she's not here. Okay, Harvinder Singh, let's go to you.
Hanji, Gurjit Veer ji, a quick question. Like, so you mentioned a couple of books that you like and some books you didn't like, and then you met Taram Singh Paikram, then that changes your life. So can you give the example, like what was missing before you read these good books or met Taram Singh ji that you are now satisfied with?
No, I could say that, as Uncle Ji was asking, that, you know, he kept the best for the end. But I never gave up. With whichever book I started, I finished it and I remembered it. If you see, you come to me, I have books written with red underlines and whatever comments I could at that time say, where I couldn't understand. And then I asked him that why does he use all these questions? Why was the difference between jap and jap? What is the difference? No book explained these differences. Even what's the difference between Brahm and Puran Brahm and Par Brahm? Because these are our tools. If you don't understand Gurbani from these three angles, you will never be able to do a justification. You can get away with it, which they have all got it. But you can't satisfy someone. If someone asks you a question, he's smarter than you. Like I met this poet this week, I tell you practical example. I heard him for an hour and then I asked him one question only. I said, do you know the difference between reading from Gurbani and reading to the Gurbani? He was honest. He said, you explain me, because he was explaining about Kabirji. I said, Kabirji is said as Julaha. But in Gurbani, Julaha is not a caste. Julaha is a avastha. As per Gurbani, Nanak is also Julaha. Because Julaha is someone who has attained the Laha. Prani tu aya Laha land. And Kabirji says, he has put two matras there. Jo Laha is the real word. That I have come and with the grace of Parmeshwar, I have obtained the Laha. So this is what we need to, this is what we call Ved Vyakran, which is not at all available. Why we call the word Gopal? Word Go means famine and Pal means Palana. But if you read this Upanishads, the word Gopal is coming for the protector of the earth, which is non-sentient, Jad. Whereas in Gurbani, Gopal means the protector of my wisdom, my mood. So these are the differences. Everything in Simritis and Shastras and Upanishads have been taken to non-sentient level. That's why the Ram you see as an idol. How come you can make an idol of Ram? Sabay kat Ram bolla. They left that. So these are the main differences which I found. And if you want to read, I will recommend Professor Sher Singh Kashmir. Shirina Kashmir, I think they call him. His books are different. And otherwise, they are all basically essence of the Nirmala sort of, because there was no other schools available. Anyone who was educated has to send someone to basically, you say, Kashi. And their mat is actually against ours. Kabirji has clearly said, Ki Sagal Janam Shiv Puri Gavaya. I will never ever accept the idea from Kashi, whereas we send people to Kashi. I don't know under what pretext, why they are saying it. It's against Gurmat. So if we want to understand the basics, and I'm trying to, you know, if you all help me, we can write a book which should make things much more simpler, so that, you know, my whole aim is that the time we are spending, if we can make someone else understand the same. My writing and all skills are bad. I'm not even a good speaker. But I can explain to people who can further tell these things to, you know, spread the message like that. I think there's a person I send you about Naam. He's doing a very good job. He's a very good orator. I admit this, Satnam Singh in England. Although he's not telling the full truth yet, but whatever he's telling is much better than the last. So there are changes coming in. And I think there is enough process that just one thing actually did nothing, but he copied the ideas from Sachkoj and relayed it further. But I don't say anything, it's good. At least he's talking something different to our books, which is already written from last 50, 60 years experience.
Anji, so Vichi, you mentioned that you read the good books after reading some not good books, or you met Taram Singh. So now are you at the stage where you are satisfied, or you still have some questions and you're still searching for it?
No, there are thousands of questions still, because the thing is, Taram Singh would have understood that my wisdom is not that high. I didn't have that. I don't have that much of kirpa as he has. So sometimes it takes me, I have to ring him 4 times, and still the concept is not clear to me, because I don't have that sort of wisdom. My wisdom is pretty poor. I'm a very average wisdom person. To me, he might be 10,000 times more wisdom than me. He explains things. I do understand, but write it still not satisfied, because my wisdom is not that strong yet. So yeah, there are thousands of questions still.
And thank you, Vichi.
Anji, thank you, Gurjit Singh Virji. I think we are running out of time, but I'll just make this one observation, and that is that every generation of Sikhs have to revisit the Guru Granth Sahib and look at it from, I often say, a more contemporary idiom, a more contemporary context. And I think Gurjit Singh Virji has just given us an example of one way to look at, to sort of look at things differently from what we have been used to. And for that, I certainly commend you, because I think we have to ultimately undo what we acquire. We have to question everything that has come down to us and look at things afresh. So with that, thank you again. And I think, Harvinder, you're going to have to send out what the plan is, because next week is a holiday weekend and I'm not going to be available on Wednesday. And then we want to break for the summer, as we've done in the past. So I'll leave that to you to communicate.
Sure, Ji, I will send.
Haji. With that said, thank you again to everyone. Thank you, Virji. And we'll be in touch.
All right, Ji. Thank you very much. Waheguru Ji ka Khalsa.
Waheguru Ji ka Fateh.